Pan American Center in Las Cruces, the 219th all-time meeting in the Rio Grande rivalry. The 2-0 Lobos from New Mexico and the 1-1 Aggies of New Mexico State. Adam Young alongside former New Mexico State assistant Russ Bradford. Here's the new men's basketball head coach at New Mexico State. It is Chris Jans in his first year. A lot of JUCO stops, also one D1 stop for Chris Jans. He has 181 and 58, a really good mark during his all-time head coaching career. And he comes over after 9 seasons at Wichita State under the great Greg Marshall. Some experience this year for New Mexico State, also a nice blend of newcomers. Jonathan Wilkins is a 3-year starter. Jamario Jones has turned into a star. City Endier returns, and Ohio State transfer A.J. Harris is off to a good start 2 games in. Zach Lofton leads the Aggies in scoring. He's a grad transfer from St. Paul, Minnesota. And on the other bench is Paul Weir. It's the storyline going into this one for sure. Paul Weir spent 10 years on staff at New Mexico State. He was the head coach last season. Now he's up north. He's with the Lobos. He is the first basketball coach to serve as the head man for both of New Mexico's Division I schools. 28 wins last year. You hear the boos right now as Paul Weir is introduced to the fans at the Pan Am Center. Paul Weir only has 1 starter back. That is Sam Logwood, who is making his 69th career start tonight. A lot of transfers, a couple of them in the starting lineup. Antono Jackson is in from Akron. Chris McNeil is in from Indian Hills JUCO. Joe Furstinger, Mr. Energy for the Lobos. And Dane Kuiper, a really good shooter from 3 at 6'7". All right, Coach Bradford, it's a big one tonight for both schools. Your keys to the game.
Well, first, yeah, it should be an exciting game. I think first of all, the Aggies are going to have to handle the Lobos' press. The Lobos are going to try and rabbit the pace. The Aggies need to take a fast break when they can get it, but they also need to control the tempo. And a big deal will be keeping Sam Logwood off the boards. What an athlete he is. He's relentless on the backboards.
NM State comes in 1-1. Lobos are 2-0, and we're going to see one of the most unique styles around the country, Coach Bradford. As you mentioned, the Lobos want to run. They want to score a lot. They want to shoot a lot of threes. They get to the free throw line a ton. I understand it's only 2 games in, but they are averaging 125 points per game. They're going to score a lot this year.
I think it's very deliberate what they're up to. I think it's and I really anticipate an exciting game tonight. Not just because it's Paul Weir's return, not just because it's Lobos Aggies, but it's 2 really sort of explosive styles of play are going to come and mash heads tonight.
Lobos scored 147 in their opener against NAIA Northern New Mexico, and then 103 in a 103-71 home win versus Nebraska Omaha on Tuesday. The Aggies played East Central in non-D1 last Friday, won handily, and then they scored 74, Coach, against number 21 St. Mary's. St. Mary's always known as one of the best defensive programs in the country, so a really impressive offensive output for the Aggies on Monday.
I thought they played very well for long stretches against an experienced team. I watched the entire game, and that is not an easy place to play.
A lot of guys on both sides don't know this rivalry at all. Chris Jans has never been in this rivalry either. He's the head coach of the Aggies. Does that help some of these players and the coach, Chris Jans?
I think it can work both ways. You know, I noticed that Paul Weir is starting Dane Kuiper and, going with the experience, Joe Furstinger and Dane Kuiper. He's going with guys who have been here before. I've seen players just play their tails off in their very first time and not be nervous at all. Other ones get intimidated by the atmosphere. We'll see what happens.
Really good energy here in the Pan American Center, as you would expect tonight. NM State has been great in this building all time, especially the last handful of years. The Aggies are 82-7 in their last 89 home games. They're also 26-1 in their last 27 home games, so they protected this floor. They're going to get their hands full tonight. Paul Weir has a different style of play. He has some transfers, only 1 returning starter, but it really hasn't mattered because they have so many transfers who have been big-time players in other programs.
That's right. And on top of that, Paul Weir has, who we see here, has he's playing 10 people. It seems like everyone's playing 20 minutes a game on the entire team. No one's playing 40 minutes a game. It seems very much a team effort for him.
On the New Mexico State side, biggest thing tonight, how they handle the press, is that huge?
I think it's very true. And you know, in Chris Jans, he's only been a head Division I coach 1 year, but he's incredibly experienced. He has a remarkable resume of going and winning in the most remote places in America. So I think the Aggies have signed a great coach up, and it should be an exciting year for him.
And we're underway. The Aggies in the white, cherry red for New Mexico. Glad you could join us. Adam Young alongside former New Mexico State coach Russ Bradford. This is City Endier with the floater, left it short. Endier grabs his own miss though. Here's Zach Lofton, he'll trigger. That spins off, first stinger there. He's averaging 7 boards a game through the first 2. Lobos really good in transition. We see them here in the half court offensively. Wilkins guarding first stinger. This is Sam Longwood, who is 6'8", very versatile, and he spins in the runner.
And here comes the press, Adam.
As you would expect, Chris Jans had the Aggies working on this press break all week in practice. This was the point of emphasis. And the Aggies break it easily here. Lofton again, extra pass to Mario Jones, who's attempted 4 threes, hasn't made any. Jones applies the screen for the Ohio State transfer, A.J. Harris. Hard of the rim, and it's offensive on Harris.
Now, there's a lot of history in this game and a lot of history in this building, Adam. The Lobos are doing a Lou Henson staple, is they're switching everything on the man-to-man defense, every screen. So even right there, it was A.J. Harris goes up against Joe Furstiger there. It's an unusual move, especially because Paul Weir has a very different team.
And that could be something Paul Weir got from Lou Henson last year.
I imagine it's likely it's sort of a Lou Henson staple, the switching man-to-man.
Longwood again over Jamario Jones. Longwood has all 4 for the Lobos. He's a really tough matchup for the Aggies defensively.
So it's an interesting move by the Lobos. It's a full court, diamond and 1 press. They'll try and trap when they can.
Aggies break it, 2-on-1. Jones on the bounce. There's Lofton guarded by Longwood. Really good matchup there. Longwood outstanding defensively. Aggies reverse it to Lofton. Longwood's on him again. Under 10 for the former All-American, Zach Lofton on the blow-by. And he's fouled by Furstinger. Quick first step.
Boy, very quick first step. And he has a tremendous reputation of being a smart player, knowing how to get to the basket and get fouled.
It's been a well-traveled collegiate career for Zach Lofton, who's a grad transfer. This is his 5th different school.
But he's got his degree.
Yes.
And so it's a great positive for the Aggies. And I thought in that last series, Adam, the Aggies beat the press, but they didn't panic and take a bad shot. And I think that'll be a key tonight: is beat the press, but don't panic and take every fast break chance that you have. They're going to have to control things a little bit.
Lofton getting his grad degree right now in education. I'm sure that's something you like, Coach.
I'm all for graduate school. I teach in the graduate school here.
Lofton makes 1 of 2. He is now 10 of 14 from the charity line this year. Lobos bring in Vladimir Pinchuk, and the Aggies force a turnover. Pinchuk is in for Furstinger. Pinchuk's only a freshman. Now with this style the Lobos play, they do average 18 turnovers per game. Granted, it's only 2 games in, but if you play that style, you're going to have some errors. Endier guarded by Chris McNeil. Here's Lofton on the wing. Jamario Jones working on Kuiper. The pitch shot for Endier. Longwood on the backside. Longwood not shooting as many threes this year as he has previously. No attempts this year, but he has 123 attempts in his career. Pinch shot inside outside for Longwood. Falls away on Jones. He has 6. Longwood 6, the Aggies 1.
Well, yeah, Longwood has certainly come to play, it seems.
The Aggies breaking the press just fine so far. And it's not leading to hoops. Jones working on the box. Trying to follow his miss. It's Kuiper who snares it in for UNM. Low block, pinch up. The jump hook, banks in, use the window.
Yep. Just an old-fashioned jump hook by Vladimir Pinchuk, the freshman.
Lobos 4 of 4 from the field. The Aggies are 0 of 4.
Well, I'm probably a little too cautious there, Adam. I think if the Lobos continue to press the Aggies and the Aggies never get a layup, the Aggies will never see the end of the pressure.
Jones from 3. That's probably not the shot the Aggies want. They get a fresh 30 here. Jamario Jones in his career now is 5 of 27 from 3. Lofton's the man to shoot it. The Aggies with another offensive rebound. 4 minutes in. Here's A.J. Harris. The pull-up from 10. Jones on the fellow sticks it in.
Well, and there he is. We expect a long season of Jamario Jones getting offensive rebounds. Well, that's the second miscommunication there. It looks like Paul Weir will clear his bench.
Energy is evident. Paul Weir will play a lot of players tonight with that run-and-gun style. First-year Aggie head coach Chris Jans looking for a marquee win. It's 8-3 Lobos, 4+ in. Welcome back to the Pan American Center in Las Cruces. 8-3 UNM Lobos, 4 of 4 from the field. Aggies are just 1 of 8. 15:42 left here in half one. There's Paul Weir, the first-year head coach of UNM. 10 years on the staff at New Mexico State, 9 of those with Marvin Menzies. And then he took over from Marvin Menzies as the head coach last year. This rivalry, coach, has a new twist now. They've never seen this. There's never been a person who's been the head coach at New Mexico and also at New Mexico State, and a lot of boot birds early. He's trying to bring that style that he was working on last year at New Mexico State to UNM, and so far it's worked. We'll see how it pays off in the long run, but Paul Weir was trying this style last year.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think part of the rivalry has always been a healthy rivalry. The coaches have always respected each other.
Sure.
The players always seem to get along. It's the fans that that sort of take it to the next level. I don't think any of the players are mad at Paul Weir, but I think it seems like plenty of the fans might be.
It's led to some departures really on both sides with the coaching switch in April. And Chris Jans looking to do big things as the Aggie head coach, and we expect him to. He's had an outstanding coaching career already. Zach Lofton at the head of the key. There's A.J. Harris on the sweep through. Talented redshirt sophomore from Dayton, Ohio. Garza for 3. If he made that, the house would have been brought down. Joe's local. He's from Las Cruces. Anthony Mathis to Chris McNeil, and he switches in the 3. McNeil, 9 of 17 this year on trays.
What's interesting, Paul Weir did not start his leading scorers up to this point, but Chris McNeil and Troy Simmons are in the game now.
Would you like to see the Aggies attack more off the press break?
Well, I keep hearing what Lou Henson would say. You know, Lou Henson would say you've got to make them pay for the press, especially at some point. They've shown they can handle it now, and I expect them now after the timeout to start attacking a little bit more off the press.
Here's Eli Chua, who did not start tonight. Harris triggers, a little too long. Chua trying for the tip, and then Firstinger picks up his second personal.
Well, this is where Eli Chua had such a great year last year for the Aggies. Both he and Jamario Jones can really rebound the ball.
There isn't a whole lot of front court depth right now for UNM, so this could be big with Firstinger in foul trouble. Connor McDougal, who's a senior, 6'9", 240, he's out again with an ankle injury, has an ankle sprain and a bone bruise, so that means Vladimir Pinchuk, right there, number 15 in Cherry, the freshman from Germany, could play some big minutes. City Endier back in for New Mexico State. Eli Chua, all conference last year in the WAC, not starting tonight. It's 1 of 2, it's 11-4. This is Antono Jackson running the point right now for UNM. Transfer in from Akron. Johnny McCants guarding Sam Longwood. Buchanan here with Jackson. Foul line jumper Longwood. misfires off the foot of Garza, and it stays with UNM.
Well, pretty good defense by Johnny McCants for the first time the Aggies can get Sam Logwood to miss.
Not often do you see two Las Cruces natives on the floor for the Aggies. That's the case right now with Garza and McCants. On the arc, Jackson on the spin, steps back on Buchanan, bricks the three, and it's in the hands of Endier. City to the lane, back out to Chua, who does have that range, just doesn't shoot much. McCants, good body control, and then Logwood scoops it up. Jackson back out to Mathis in the corner, a little too long, pulled in by McCants. Buchanan lobs it over the D to Endier in transition. Low block, Chua. Chua with the left, slips off the rim. The Aggies can't buy a basket. They're 1 of 13 shooting.
It's been good shot after good shot. Things could be worse for the Aggies at this point.
Logwood with his first three-point attempt this year off the heel. Buchanan back out to Endier, rises up, and he hits it.
Well, the Aggies needed that. They've shot poorly and they're only down 4, which is a good sign if it's this early in the game.
Logwood hands it off to Anthony Mathis, a junior from West Linn, Oregon. Now the exchange for Jackson, the Houston native. Poked away by McCants. Chua ahead for Endier, lob for McCants, and he jams it in.
Pretty good teamwork by the Aggies there, sharing the ball.
Jackson on the hesitation to the rolling Pinchuk. Good D by Chua. Pinchuk with a hook.
Another jump hook by Pinchuk. And here's the press again. It's just been relentless after every made basket. Let's see if the Aggies can get through it and get a layup this time.
Buchanan will pull it out to the arc. And Garza sets up the Aggie offense here. 11.5 left in the first half. 13-9 Lobo. Really impressive number. Just 2 games in, but you have to think they're going to force turnovers all year. Endier fakes the spin. Deep 2. Yes, sir.
Boy, he looked like a pro there. That looked like Ian Baker. Last year's Aggie star.
City's a special talent all the way from France. Redshirt junior now. Had an injury last year. McCants playing a big role. Endier for Johnny. Oh my!
But McCants made a really smart move there. He gave the ball up to the guard and then ran. Really a smart move by Johnny McCants.
They love their hometown kids in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Right down the road, Oñate High. Johnny McCants brings the Aggies within 1. Johnny McCants leading an Aggie rally. The Aggies have made each of their previous 5 shots. McCants has 6 off the bench, and the Aggies trail UNM by only 1. Tonight's game is brought to you by Wells Fargo, a proud supporter of Aggie basketball and the power of teamwork. Wells Fargo, together we'll go far. Coach, I don't think we expected Johnny McCants to be the guy who leads the Aggie rally early.
I certainly didn't, but he made a really smart move on the last play. Rather, he comes up with the steal, but threw it right to City Endier, and then ran like crazy down to the other end, his second alley-oop dunk of the game. Big boost, and the fans, of course, went crazy.
The Aggies force a turnover. A.J. Harris can't convert. Endier will pull it out, and the Aggies reset.
Well, here's the Aggies giving the Lobos a taste of their own medicine with their own full-court pressure.
Double team comes on Wilkins, so he skips out of it to Endier. Attacks the rim, and he slams it in.
Really a smart pass by John Wilkins. It was just a perfect cross-court pass out of the double team.
Here's Ja'Kai Simmons, the JUCO transfer. Now Sam Logwood on the baseline. Taking his time on Wilkins. Logwood in the lane. Rises up, no good. Tipped around. Grab by Logwood. Kuiper can shoot.
Uh-oh.
And it's short, and there's Jamario Jones for the high board. Aggies pushing now. Harris to Wilkins.
And that's what I think the Aggies are going to have to do more of, is run through the pressure. Now that was after a missed shot. Let's see if they can do it after a made basket. I'll bet they've got their confidence now, Adam.
The Aggies on a 6-0 run. They take a 3-point lead here at the Pan Am Center. Kuiper in the left wing. Now Logwood, top of the key. Lobos certainly would have played faster than this. Looking for the handoff. Simmons wasn't there. 2 to shoot. UNM doesn't know it. That's a shot clock violation. And the Aggies will have it.
Well, Zach Lofton put it up anyway.
I know Chris Jans was looking for better defense from the Aggies after the first 2 outings and the exhibition games as well. He wasn't pleased with his defense. I know it's only 11.5 in, but it's been better tonight.
No, but he's made some really smart moves here, Adam, as they're against the pressure. They've been very controlled, and now they're starting to run through it after a few times. 6
turnovers on UNM. The Aggies have only committed 1. And once again, in the first 2 games this year, the Lobos forcing 29.5 per game. Harris outside for Lofton. Pinballs around. Kuiper grabs it in the corner, and he saves it to Logwood.
Well, risky move by Kuiper, saving it under his own basket. That could have been a layup for the Aggies.
And Paul Weir had a good point. I think Kuiper was bumped. There probably should have been a foul. Foul here before the shot by Logwood. That's foul number 2 on the Aggies. And on Zach Lofton, it's number 1. Shakai Simmons heads off for UNM. Simmons originally signed with the Aggies, but he was granted his release when Paul Weir left for UNM, so he was about to be an Aggie before the coaching change. Logwood backing down Jones. Pinballs off the rim. Logwood able to grab it though. Dane Kuiper with a pretty finger roll.
Wow, all the way from Alaska. Nice move by Dane Kuiper there.
Aggies break it easily again. A.J. Harris with his offhand left it short. He's a left-hander. The burst ahead for Chris McNeil. This is the pace UNM wants to play at, and it's a blocking foul on Garza.
Wow, well, we'll have to look at that one again.
7:34 left here in the first half of play. It's the Rio Grande rivalry. First of 2 meetings this year. City End here with the explosive dunk. For this one, and then in early December when they tangle in Albuquerque, short drive for Aggie fans, only a 3-hour trip along Interstate 25, and as usual, a lot of crimson and white, but also a lot of cherry red in attendance here this evening.
It's only 3 hours, Adam, but if you lose, it seems like it's 3 days on the way back.
It's been very hard for teams to sweep in a season in this rivalry. Last year, the 2 teams split. It's the 219th all-time meeting. First meeting was all the way back in 1904. UNM has won 16 of the previous 20. Not a whole lot of expectations this year for the Lobos, picked to finish 9th out of 11 teams in the Mountain West preseason poll. The Aggies picked 2nd in the WAC behind Grand Canyon. Whole new staff for the Aggies. There's Lou Godino, who's doing a great job as the associate head coach under Chris Jans. That was his first hire. And I know right when Chris Jans made that hire to get Lou Godino to come from Indiana State to New Mexico State, he was thrilled.
Yes, Lou Godino has a terrific reputation around the country, as do the other Aggies assistants. We'll talk about them as the game goes on.
Lobos go ahead by 1. In case you're just joining us, the Aggies so far have been breaking the press easily, only 1 turnover committed. It's been the Lobos who have coughed it up. A.J. Harris, the Ohio State transfer, played for the Buckeyes 2 years ago. Sat out last year due to transfer rules. Lofton to the rim. Left it short. Shua crashes though, and Shua's fouled across his arm.
Boy, Chua really bails out Zach Lofton. Zach thought he got fouled there. He was a little off balance. It was a good, strong move to the basket, but Chua in the right place. A smart move by Eli Chua.
And I think the Aggies like the matchup with that man right there, Makwach Mawach, the freshman from Australia, guarding Lofton on the arc.
Yes, that's a lot of pressure to put on a first-year Australian to guard a fifth-year senior in Zach Lofton.
It's the first personal on Mawach. He fouled Chua. Aggies 3 of 5 on the free throws. Now 3 of 6. There's Jamario Jones again. Saves it to Garza.
Wow. Doing what he does best.
Harris on the elbow pull-up. Tipped out by McNeil. And the Aggies will keep it. Jamario Jones, like he did all of last year, keeping possessions alive.
Yes. And, boy, he does it as well as anybody in America.
And this was earlier. Johnny McCants, a dunk to start an Aggie rally. Harris with the ball. He's 0 of 5 so far from the field. Lofton squares up on the freshman Pinchuk. Bullet pass to Garza. Jones had him. Didn't find him though. It's Lofton from 3. Jamario Jones again. Can't stick it in, but he'll get free throws, and he's bouncing around.
There it is. There it is. He's just blue collar and smart around the basket. He may be the smartest player I've ever seen for his size around the basket. Watch him get. There's no way that Jamario Jones should get this. But there he is.
Jamario Jones was a late sign last year by Paul Weir and his staff, and I'm sure Paul thought all last year, I never want to coach against this guy, and now he has to. I mean, He saw him do this every single day in practice last year. He's just a ball of energy.
But he came on, he didn't play great the first couple games a year ago. I think he's one of those guys you don't realize how good he is till the game starts unfolding and you look at halftime and he's got 7 rebounds again.
And one of the adjustments too was him going from 6th man last year to a starter this year. And for some guys, that's a big change.
Yes.
He's handled it well so far, 3 games in.
And here's that matchup again, Johnny McCants on Sam Longwood.
On the kick out, Ja'Kai Simmons. Great dump off for Pinchuk, who has 4 now.
Well, good penetration by the Lobos there.
Dangerous pass there by McCants, but Harris tracks it down. Sling pass for Jamario Jones. Mismatch here with McNeil guarding Chua. Extra pass for Harris. Double team comes on Jones, flashing Chua, banks it in.
Well, just a really fine pass by Jamario Jones out of the double team.
Back and forth we go here in the first half. Aggies retake the lead. Longwood might have had that blocked partially. Jones there. No numbers for the Aggies. They'll lob it anyway. Good catch by McCants. Dump off for Chua.
Well, Longwood started out with 3 baskets in a row, and he hasn't made one since. He's missed 5 or 6 in a row now.
Johnny McCants playing at a very high level. Harris gets back, and McNeil's fouled by A.J. Harris, who gambled, tried to step in the passing lane, and he gets a foul. Some really good guards here tonight, Coach. McNeil, Jackson, and some others for UNM.
Yep. Harris,
Endier, and some others for the Aggies.
And here comes Sean Buchanan in for A.J. Harris.
There's Sean Buchanan. Aggies with Wilkins, McCants, Lofton, Endier, and Buchanan. Jackson, Pinchuk, Longwood, Kuiper, and Simmons for UNM. This is Kuiper on the inbound catch. Longwood 6'8", can play really all 5 positions if he needs to. Akron transfer Antono Jackson will rise up from 3. Way off the mark. Lofton with the rebound. Buchanan slithering in the painted area. Now Lofton to McCants. McCants to Wilkins. Flashing again is Lofton. Another pretty feed by Postman.
Well, where the Aggies are exploiting the Lobos is they're passing out of these double teams without any trouble at all. The Lobos just aren't able to rotate fast enough out of the double teams, and I wonder if Paul Weir will stop the double teams because they just have not been effective. The Aggies pass the ball too well.
It's a 6-0 Aggie run. The Aggies working out of the low post. McCants, extra pass to Buchanan. Now 10 here on the shot clock for the Aggies. Buchanan calls out McCants for a ball screen. Buchanan trapped in the corner. Aggies need to chuck it. McCants does, and it's an air ball. Well, with the first half he's having, you thought maybe that one would go in.
Well, that's the first time the Aggies have looked out of sync on offense.
Biggest lead for the Aggies tonight. They lead by a handful. It's 27-22 behind a 6-0 Aggie run. Here at the Pan American Center in Las Cruces, 27-22. New Mexico State leads by 5 with 3:57 left. Here in the first half, tonight's game is brought to you by Wells Fargo, a proud supporter of Aggie basketball and the power of teamwork. Wells Fargo, together, we'll go far. Turnover margin, advantage Aggies. Rebound margin, advantage Aggies as well, +8, Coach. And I know Chris Jantz believes they could be a really good rebounding team this year.
There's been quite a few surprises tonight. One that I'm delighted with is how well the Aggies share the ball and move it out of the double teams. Paul Weir, the Lobos, trying to double team at every opportunity, but the Aggies continue to make them pay. They weren't able to get easy layups out of the press, but they never turned the ball over either. And once they've gotten it down, they've just shown great ball movement. Really remarkable achievement for first-year coach Chris Jantz. That's not him there, by the way.
One of the big noticeable things so far is how prepared New Mexico State is for this game. They have broken the pressure with ease.
I completely agree. It's a really remarkable first Lobo game for Chris Jantz.
A no call in the backcourt. Kuiper can't finish, and it's Jamario Jones who cleans it up again. The Aggies trying to grow their first half lead. They break the press easily again. Just 3 turnovers for the Aggies here in the first half. Endier working on Firstinger, who has 2, and he traveled with it. I think he came down with his right foot, then his left foot, instead of both feet at the same time, and City's arguing. I assume that's what he did. That's the only way he could have traveled there in that scenario. McNeil pushes for UNM. Quiet first half here for the Lobo offense after a good start, but it was all Logwood during that start for UNM. Nobody else has really had a good first half. Here's Troy Simons, who's long on his 3, and Jamario Jones has 8 rebounds in the half. The lob for Wilkins, caught by McCants, back out, Endier fires. Johnny McCants playing above the rim again. Wilkins can't put it in, off the knee of an Aggie.
Boy, McCants has really been impressive so far. The Aggies didn't get the break there, but I'm really impressed with McCants, how hard he plays and how smart he is.
And watching UNM on film, you see how athletic they are, and it seems like the Aggies have matched them athletically. The athletes are there.
That's right. I think that's absolutely right.
Scoring drought of 3.5 minutes for UNM. Extra pass to Kuiper, steps back on the side step. Pinball's out, boarded by McCants, and he throws it away.
Well, first mistake McCants has made. We'll give him a break on that one.
And then Sean Buchanan takes it back, and Kuiper's whistled for the personal.
Well, technical on Sean Buchanan. I don't know what the call was going to be, but this veteran crew calls a technical on Sean Buchanan.
Yeah, he pushed Troy Simons, and I think he did because Simons initially kind of brushed off from Buchanan, but Sean Buchanan pushed right in front of the official, a big no-no. Chris Jantz not mad at the official, he's mad at Sean Buchanan. And this, as you know, Coach, is a really veteran crew here tonight.
But now the foul was on Dane Kuiper, so why Sean Buchanan was getting a technical there, it's hard to figure. He got the call, so why he would say anything to the refs, I don't know.
Well, I think what happened, Coach, and we'll see the replay, I think he pushed Troy Simons, who kind of brushed off on him.
Oh, after the whistle.
When Kuiper was on the floor, Simons was going to help him up. Kind of brushed off on Sean Buchanan. There wasn't much there, and then Sean Buchanan pushed, and we'll see the replay. We need to roll this all the way out to see the end of the play. So here's Kuiper going down. Simons will come over. And there just wasn't much.
Oh, yeah.
A little more than I thought initially.
Yeah, that's right.
And now the fans see the replay as we see it.
Yeah, Troy Simons certainly initiated it. I'm not happy with the way Sean Buchanan reacted, but
to the naked eye, though, it seemed like it wasn't much of a brush off. A little more as we see the replay.
No, that's right. But it's always the one who retaliates who gets caught, and it's in this case it was Sean Buchanan retaliating against Troy Simons. As we've talked about Paul Weir plenty. We haven't talked about Brandon Mason making another return there. That's Brandon Mason, the Aggie great. Played for me in Ireland for 1 year. He was most valuable player in all of Ireland when we won the Irish championship. But he's just got a huge future as a college basketball coach.
Personal foul on 14 from New Mexico.
Yeah.
With double technical fouls on the two.
A big thanks to Tommy Nunez for coming over to us and relaying the call. So double T, after watching the replay, they see there was a little more than they initially thought with Simons. So a double T on Simons and Buchanan, and the initial personal on Kuiper stands as well.
Yes, just Troy Simons trying to get Sean Buchanan's goat, and he did a little bit, but it's a double technical. And Troy Simons stays in. Sean Buchanan's come out, maybe to calm him down a little bit.
2.25 to go. And Aggies with a weave handoff to Jamario Jones. Johnny McCants with the ball right now. Shua slipping. McCants finds Jamario. Way deep on the arc. Backdoor to Endier. Good catch. Lost it. Jones with 3 to shoot. Gets the rim. And then the rebound is collected by McNeil. McNeil in transition. What a fantastic finish by McNeil.
I thought there's no way he's going to get the shot off, and he spun it into the basket. Pretty impressive move by Chris McNeil.
Chua in the corner. The wing-to-wing skip to Endier, stolen by Simons, and then he steps out of bounds on the sideline. It's going to be hard to get the ball down low to Chua if it's Jamario Jones who's entering the ball, because UNM knows Jamario doesn't want to shoot the three. He doesn't want to shoot
the three in general, that's right.
27-24 New Mexico State. Is this remotely like what you expected here in the first half?
It's never what I expected the Lobo Aggie games. That's what makes the game so great.
NM State, as you see there, plus 10 in rebound margin. The Aggies will have UTEP coming up soon. That's actually next week already. This is a tough stretch. The Aggies will have UTEP in back-to-back games. They have UNM tonight. They're going to have UNM in early December as well.
That's right, and Colorado State comes into the Pan Am Center in next week.
I know Chris Jans has talked a lot about the schedule and how tough it is. Maybe a little softer a season ago when the Aggies went 28-6. Look at the schedule this year, and it's hard to look at the schedule and say, okay, that's a win right there. Everything's going to be tough.
Oh, that's right. It's a lot of tough games ahead for the Aggies.
.90 seconds left here in the first half of play. Ja'Kai Simmons guarding Zach Lofton, who goes to work on Simmons and floats it in.
Wow, great body control by Zach Lofton.
Honorable mention All-American last year at Texas Southern, was the SWAC Player of the Year. He's a grad transfer, and he puts the Aggies ahead 29-24. Simmons answers. Friendly roll there for Ja'Kai Simmons. Rebounding and taking care of the ball, two big keys for the Aggies tonight, and they have succeeded in both areas. They break the press again, and City Endier, who can run the point or the two guard, will hand it off to Lofton. Talented grad transfer from St. Paul, Minnesota. Isolation set, rises over, first stinger no good, put it back in midair, and she was fouled again. Eli Chua's been busy. He's already attempted 4 free throws. He has 2 of 4. What are your early thoughts here, Coach, on Lofton?
Well, yeah, he's really impressive. He's quick off the dribble, and he's clearly got great offensive flair. But he plays within himself. He's not taking terrible shots. He's taking good shots for the most part. And I think it's a tremendous addition for Chris Jans as we watch as Zach Lofton goes over for a little chat with Chris Jans.
This gives coaches an advantage that wasn't around when you were coaching. You can bring in a guy for 1 year as a grad transfer, working on his master's, and
well, the best part, it encourages kids to graduate.
Sure. Good point. Yeah.
And so in this case, there's a pressure on the kid to graduate. If he wants to go somewhere else and play, he's allowed to. But the only way to do it without sitting out is to graduate. I like that rule. I think it's a good rule.
McCants with a tip. Logwood collects. 7-second difference. Game clock, shot clock. And McCants fouls Logwood before the shots.
Well, I like McCants has shown really great promise tonight. Sam Logwood went right around him there pretty quickly, but he's had an impressive debut here in the Pan Am Center. Impressive Lobo debut, sorry.
Sam Logwood's always been a really fine scorer, but never a big-time scorer for UNM. He's been around for 4 years, and he's always played well. He made 16 starts as a freshman. But this year, he could really break out as the scorer for UNM.
Well, that's the thing with Paul Weir. He has that reputation of being a fine communicator, and I think he's been able to get through to Sam Logwood here.
That's Logwood again. 3-second difference, game clock, shot clock. McNeil off the screen. 2 white jerseys there, so he hands it off to Pinchuk, who has 6. Aggies need to hurry. They're going to get it in too late. No shot for Chua. That won't count. And it's 31-28 here at halftime. An entertaining first half, probably not as many points as we expected for Chris Jans and the Aggies, and also for Paul Weir and the Lobos. We had 2 ties, 5 lead changes, 8 points for Eli Chua for the Aggies. And Pinchuk and Logwood leading New Mexico so far. Halftime activities coming your way next. 5 for the top scorer coming in, Zach Lofton. We thought we would see a lot of points in this game. New Mexico came in averaging 125 per game. Aggies came in averaging 77.5 per game. We had the keys early, Coach. How they done?
Well, first let me say that I thought someone would score 100 points, and I was wrong. But the Aggies did a very good job of handling the press and controlling the tempo, and they did not limit Sam Logwood early. He had 3 baskets in a row to start the game, but he missed his next 5 shots. So I think the Aggies are doing, I'll give them an A-.
Coach, I'll tell you what, I was so confident that somebody would score 100 tonight. I was making notes on my note card about past games in this rivalry that saw 100 points, and there haven't been many. The last time a team scored 100 was 06. The Aggies did in a 103-72 win. Usually it's played at a little lower scoring of a game, and so far that's been the case, which I didn't expect, and I don't think you did either.
Well, part of it, I think, is the Aggies didn't take the bait. Even though they were getting pressed, they didn't go try and run and gun and go crazy. They were very selective, and it wasn't until in the half-court offense, as we've been talking about, when they really took advantage of the Lobo double teams in the half-court.
And I'm sure what the Aggies did in the first half, many coaches down the road, including Tennessee Tech, Tuesday night, they're going to play UNM. They're going to take that press break and use it as a blueprint. Okay, that's how we beat the UNM press going forward.
I think that's right, but will they have players as quick as A.J. Harris and City Endier and Zach Lofton? I don't know. But, yeah, pretty impressive start for the Aggies tonight.
Lobos with Tennessee Tech on Tuesday in the pit. The Aggies will have Colorado State here at the Pan Am on Wednesday. Back to action, half 2. Who will win the 219th meeting here in the Rio Grande rivalry? 1 possession game. Endier blocks Jackson, and the Aggies out and running. A.J. Harris all the way to the rim, no good. And Wilkins catches the tip. Harris fires from the corner, way short. Jones had Endier and Wilkins, and they couldn't grab it. Both teams empty in their first possession here in half two. Logwood will square up on Lofton. Really nobody in foul trouble right now for the Aggies. Harris has 2, that's all. AJ with the orange right now. Lofton left open. Firstinger late to close out.
Well, and a big story is that Sam Logwood has just disappeared for the Lobos, or just hasn't been the great influence that he was in the first few minutes of the game.
That's a big mistake for Firstinger and UNM, leaving Lofton a clean look. Aggies now 2 of 11 from 3. Chris McNeil, the Jackson, Tennessee native. A little too strong. Rebound for Harris, the smallest player on the floor at 5'9". A lot of minutes 2 years ago for AJ under Thad Matta at Ohio State. Sat out last year due to transfer rules. Mid-post extended Wilkins. Here's AJ Harris, extra pass. He finds Lofton. A little too strong. Endier tips it out to Harris. Lofton to Endier on the kick out.
Well, just the Aggies are really willing to share the ball. It's remarkable what good passers the Aggies are all the way around. And particularly the post players. Jonathan Wilkins is a terrific passer. And he's the one who got that first open shot by sharing the ball. And Jamario Jones has taken off his nose guard, by the way. Did you notice that, Adam?
I did.
That's the kind of insightful color analysis you get from me. No nose guard for Jamario Jones here.
Joe Firstinger with a long deuce. Harris to a trailing Wilkins. Bounces off the defender, and that's a charge on Jonathan Wilkins, who must have lowered his shoulder.
Well, you don't see that kind of mistake from John Wilkins very often. He's usually pretty selective and pretty smart. In that one, he just was a little bit out of control, I think, as we see Anthony Mathis check back in for the Lobos.
This running good offense for UNM. Paul Weir believes that this is a second half style. That they'll wear down their opponent enough to have a big second half advantage. Firstinger misses there. Wilkins, the outlet for Endier. Jamario Jones was all alone. Jones to Lofton again from the corner.
But I'm a little surprised the Lobos are leaving him that wide open. The Lobos seem they're having a little trouble with their rotations on defense, especially particularly out of the double teams.
And a late foul is called on UNM. NM State 3 of 5 from 3 here in this half. They were 1 of 9 in the first 20. Buchanan's in, and Harris heads off. That was on Logwood. What did you see there, Coach? You see much?
Well, usually Jamario Jones goes flying at the ball, and that one time he went flying away from the ball, and maybe that was the referee's clue there.
First on Logwood, first on UNM as well here in the half. The Aggies break the pressure again, and it's Buchanan running the offense for NM State. Now Chua for Lofton. Biggest lead for the Aggies, it's 10. Buchanan blocked away by Mathis with 3 to shoot, so the Aggies will have 3. Check that. That was Simons with the block. Trey Simons there in the corner.
And Sean Buchanan didn't have much choice. There's no time to fake that one. Now the Aggies have just 3 seconds.
Lofton will trigger. Do not be surprised if he gets it back before the 3 seconds is up. It's Chua who gets a pretty good look. McNeil collects and they lost it. No numbers though, it's a 2-on-3. Jones to Endier, way short. Ball side rebound defensive for McNeil. Here's McNeil brushing off the pinch-up screen. McQuatch lost it. Let's see if Lofton slows it down. Zach will, and Chua gets it off for City Endier. Under 16 left here in half two. The Aggie lead has grown to 10 behind some hot three-point shooting here in the half. Lofton has a clear path to the rim, and he scoops it through.
Well, that's what I expected from Zach Lofton. He has that reputation being able to lower his shoulder and get to the basket.
Simons on a step back. It's loose. It's picked up by McNeil. Mathis left wide open, and he is a phenomenal three-point shooter.
He's shaking his head. He knows that's like a layup for Anthony Mathis.
Mathis 2 of 3 from bonus distance. Lofton has the freshman McQuatch guarding him again. Now on the switch, he's guarding Endier, and an offensive foul is called on Eli Chua. Chris Jans doesn't like it. Tommy Nunez said he was ramping around. A hooking foul, if you will, on Eli Chua. But for Eli, that is only number 1. NM State has outscored UNM 11-5.5. The lead is 9 for the Aggies. 15:58 left here in the second half of play. Great to have you with us here tonight at the Pan American Center. Adam Young alongside a man who coached in this rivalry, former New Mexico State coach Russ Bradford. 219 all-time meetings. What's your favorite moment as a coach in this rivalry?
What actually happened, reminiscent of tonight, it actually happened before the game when Lou Henson first went back to the from the Pan American Center, went to the pit, and Lou Henson at the pit. And I remember walking up the tunnel with him, and people were yelling and screaming their heads off, very aggressive. But Lou, he's just so calm, smiled and waved at everybody as if they were cheering him. And it's, Paul Weir under the same kind of pressure tonight.
Is there a nicer guy than Lou Henson?
No, there's absolutely not. That's an easy question. You have to ask me harder questions.
There's actually going to be a game later this year in December when New Mexico State plays Illinois at the United Center in Chicago. It's the Lou Henson game.
It'll be full of Lou's former players from both teams.
Always nice, too, when the Aggies head back to Chicago. A lot of alums in that area. A lot of former players in that area. 5 to shoot for Mathis. Here's McQuatch, and he swishes in the 3. Freshman from Sydney, Australia.
Yeah, that was one of the few breakdowns with Jamario Jones that you'll ever see defensively. Uh-oh.
Something came on the floor.
Coach lost his chewing gum, I think.
One of our officials, Mike Reed, will scoop it up. It's like a cough drop.
Oh, I thought it was chewing gum.
Maybe a marble.
But he won't be. They'll warn the fans if there's things coming down on the floor.
If something else is tossed on the floor, you'll have Chris Jans on mic saying stop. PA announcer Ed Carnathan just reminded fans that if you throw something on the floor, that's a foul to the Aggies. That could hurt the home team.
But pretty impressive Lobo Aggie debut for Chris Jans.
Like I said in the first half, he's had his team extremely prepared. Sean Buchanan out on the same page as Joe Garza. Both benches are stacked. You have Lou Godino on the Aggie bench. David Anwar, who's been around. Jeff Myatt, who's been great at the JUCO level. And then our Paul Weir's bench. You have Chris Harriman, who has great ties to Australia. Brandon Mason, now on the bench as well. An outstanding recruiter, you would have to think. Jamario Jones skies for the rebound. Garza's open here on the wing. Just didn't get to him in enough time. Harris finds Lofton with under 14 left here in the half. Lofton gets by Firstinger, can't finish though. And then Mathis was out of bounds on the end line.
Well, Aggie's got a break there. That's where the switching defense can really confuse you. Zach Lofton winds up with Joe Firstinger and thinks, I've got to take this guy to the basket, and winds up taking a little bit of an off-balance shot. The switching man-to-man defense by the Lobos.
Zach Lofton will trigger in for the Aggies, lobs it into Jamario Jones. Chua hands it off to Garza. Good defense there for Antonio Jackson, sticking out his hand. Jones wants it down low. He's pushed it up on Simmons. On the roll, Chua. Back outside, Garza for three. Defensive board for Dane Kuiper.
Well, Kuiper came down with that in big traffic.
Two-possession game right now. Logwood guarded by Chua. Logwood with the hook. Pinball's off. Jamario Jones there for his 11th rebound. Came in averaging 14.5 per game. Lofton finds an angle again.
Well, he's all smiles too, Zach Lofton.
15 for the grad transfer. Getting his first taste of the Rio Grande rivalry here tonight. First stinger bounces off Chua, and he'll get a pair of free throws.
Well, Chua with a sort of a rare lapse in effort on that one. You know, I think Joe Furstinger sort of surprised him. I don't think he thought Joe Furstinger would try and go all the way.
Furstinger, Mr. Energy. He's that spark for UNM. He always has been. Senior from Rancho Santa Margarita, California. Shooting into the student section. He's a really good shooter for a big man too. He's 7 of 7 on free throws, and he can shoot the 3 too at 6'9".
Yeah, he's tough and he's all elbows and knees and effort. He's just a smart, heady player, but you can see where he'd get his nose broke because he's not afraid to stick his nose in there and go after the ball.
Number change this year for Furstinger, were 23 last year, whereas 5 this year. And he makes it a 6-point game again. 44-38, biggest lead for the Aggies in this half, 12. 5 minutes into the game, it was an 8-point Lobo lead. Chris Gian's trying to call out the play, and the Aggies able to get it relayed to them. Simon's all over Lofton. Really good defense.
Pretty good defense.
A jump ball.
Pretty good defense by Troy Simons.
I'm sure you worry as the head coach of the defensive team, if you get that close, you're going to foul him. And Simon stood his ground and just ripped it.
No, just stuck down and got down in a stance and really moved his feet well. Watch him here to anticipate which way Zach Lofton's going.
Possession stays with the Aggies. They inbound to Jonathan Wilkins. Back to Lofton. On the trap, Logwood bumps Lofton. Number 2 on Logwood. Number 3 on UNM here in the half. Seems like now UNM may rev up the pressure here in the half court. Johnny McCants catches in the backcourt, and the Aggies only have 15 here to shoot. Shot clock doesn't reset. Baseline feed to Wilkins. Furstinger and Simmons double teaming it. 4 to shoot for the Aggies. Harris triggers. Wilkins the offensive rebound, and then Logwood picks up, checked out, McNeil picks up the foul as he bumps Lofton.
Well, John Wilkins really saved and bailed the Aggies out there.
A couple of fouls here on the recent stages for UNM. They're trying to stay in this one. First-year head coach Paul Weir and UNM trailing first-year head coach Chris Jans and the Aggies 44-38, 8+ in. Pretty good crowd tonight for the Rio Grande rivalry. NM State trying to beat UNM at home for the second straight year. Obviously some different elements in place this year, and if the Aggies can hang on, this would be a marquee win for Chris Jans.
It really would, and he's been involved in a lot of big wins, but the Lobo Aggie rivalry is a big one, and it's been amped up a little bit with Paul Weir's departure.
And obviously you have no clue how UNM will be the rest of the year or how the Aggies will be the rest of the year, but 3 games in, when it's a rivalry game like this, that would mean a marquee win for the Aggies. McNeil guarding Harris. Here's Wilkins on the exchange. Johnny McCants was great early, playing a lot of minutes here tonight. Endier from the wing with 6 on the shot clock. Finds his way to the paint, and he's fouled. He's bailed out with 4 to shoot.
Yeah, that could have ended badly for City Endier, but he didn't. He wound up getting fouled at the end.
First on Ja'Kai Simmons. It will lead to City Endier free throws, and City this year has not attempted a free throw shot. He's 75% in his Aggie career, though.
And the Aggies, as we keep talking about, they've really shared the ball well, taken care of the ball, played unselfishly, but they haven't shot well, and they're still up by 6. Shooting just 35% for the game.
And they shot really well Monday on the road against St. Mary's.
They did.
Kept them in the game.
I don't know if it's nerves or the Lobo defense or it's hard to know.
Jamario Jones comes in for Zach Lofton. Jones with 3 points and a dozen rebounds. Dane Kuiper back in for UNM, replaces Ja'Kai Simmons. So Jones lost the face mask, and Firstinger keeps his on. Firstinger might need his. He's one of those guys who's not afraid to put his nose in some things and get gritty. He will stay with UNM here. McNeil triggering at his 3rd different school in 3 years. Began at Western Kentucky. McQuatch Malwatch loses the ball. Surging ahead is A.J. Harris, and he has it go off his knee. Situation right there, Coach, maybe trying to make something out of nothing.
Yeah, just well on both ends. The Australian probably made a bad decision dribbling into 2 people, and A.J. Harris with a usually he's pretty under control, and in this case he just got going a little bit too fast.
No field goals for UNM in 3.5 minutes. Not a good time here to go to a drought for them. They trail by 7 on the road here in their road opener. Firing is McNeil, left it short. The Aggies box out again. They're pushing here, might have numbers. Pull up Endier. No good. Wiped off the glass by Pinchuk. He lost it though. Loose ball. And it's Jamario Jones who finds it.
Who of course, Jamario, and I think he knocked it away from Pinchuk to keep the Aggies alive there.
Endier to Jones. The pump fake on Kuiper. Tipped away by Dane Kuiper. Great D. Here comes Troy Simons. Simons on the fall away, not a good shot. Pulled in by Harris. Ahead for Endier with 2-on-2. Endier fouled by Simons.
Well, veteran official Tommy Nunez, really a strong crew tonight. 3 veteran officials.
It's been a light game offensively for Simons, who you see right there, number 31 in Cherry. He hasn't scored. He's only attempted 3 shots. And he's going to head to the bench right now. Simons last year was the JUCO scoring leader. Averaged 26 a game at Polk State. And he came in, I know only 2 games in, but he was leading the Lobos in scoring, averaging 21.5 per game before tonight. A.J. Harris to City Endier. Wraparound pass for Wilkins. Inside, outside, Lofton. Pump fake and a drive. Handoff to Jones.
Well, really, one of the things that Zach Lofton, I think, is going to have to do this year, and he seems perfectly willing to do it, is to show that he can share the ball like the rest of the Aggies can.
Here comes City Endier, and he's fouled on his way up.
Well, a little bit of frustration from the Lobos there, I think, as the Aggies. Looked like the Lobos were going to make their move there in the last few minutes, and they haven't really done much.
Really good sportsmanship here by Dane Kuiper. Went right over to City after he fouled him. Said, "I meant no harm by that one."
Well, the problem with City Endier is he's so slippery quick getting to the basket. He could make anybody foul him accidentally.
City 1 of 2 on free throws tonight. First one is up, and the pinball's out. Anthony Mathis, the sharpshooter from Oregon, is back in. Kuiper heads off. Kuiper only has 2 in this game. Endier gets 1 of 2. Johnny McCants will come in for the Aggies. Who's he getting, though? Nobody's gone off yet. Now City End here finally goes off. The Aggies had 6 for a little bit.
Well, Chris Jans knows they can't play with 6. Although they've been swarming defensively at times, it seems like there's 6 of them out there.
Biggest lead, 12. It's a 10-point lead right now. No points in 3 minutes for UNM. Backdoor in the cut. Logwood catches from Firstinger. And he scores around the freshman, Johnny McCants.
Well, I think in that situation, when Logwood takes 3 or 4 dribbles right under the basket, they're gonna need to double team him down there.
.48-40 Aggies. A.J. Harris backpedals to the wing. On the sideline, Jamario Jones. Now Zach Lofton, who has 15 on 6 of 13 shooting. The Ohio State transferred Harris, and a timeout is called by Larry Spalding. Must have been a clock issue. I think the shot clock shouldn't be at 21. .909 left. Shot clock at 21 is what it reads right now, and Chris Jans will use this time to talk to his team, and it looks like Paul Weir will use this time to talk to his team as well. And we'll break. 48-40 Aggies. 9:09 left in the game. Pan Am Center in Las Cruces, 48-40 New Mexico State. A big thanks to Tommy Nunez, who came over and told us the clock had froze, which is the issue. So they're readjusting the clock. Apparently it just froze for, I think he said 11 seconds, and they've adjusted it here at the Pan Am. Tonight's game is brought to you by Wells Fargo, a proud supporter of Aggie basketball and the power of teamwork. Wells Fargo, together we'll go far. The clock is now under 9. The shot clock is at 4. And a foul is called. I think it's offensive on Zach Lofton, who was trying to step through the double team. Some words are exchanged near midcourt with Lofton and some others. The presidential treatment here tonight, Coach. We had Larry Spalding come over to make sure we knew what was going on with the clock.
They think we're important, as we see A.J. Harris with what a little bit of a, he thinks is a ticky-tack foul. Certainly didn't affect the play.
The foul situation right now, 6 on UNM, 5 on the Aggies. That is the 3rd on A.J. Harris, who's defending Jackson on the wing. Simmons picks up his dribble. Firstinger will post up Wilkins on the arc. Now it's Jackson again, guarded by Harris again. A.J. has to be careful with 8.5 to go. And A.J. Harris just picked up his 4th.
Boy, Johnny McCants is really working hard. I don't know if I've ever seen a freshman work that hard defensively.
Wow.
Yeah, well, it's a veteran crew. We're going to give them a break. Yeah. Plus, they've been so kind to us. They come over at every opportunity.
So Sean Buchanan comes in, replaces A.J., who's going to sit for a few minutes. Firstinger catches the inbound. Lobos trail by 8. This has not been a good half for them offensively. Logwood back outside for Mathis. 3 made threes for Anthony Mathis off the bench.
Well, now it's 5 points with 8 minutes to go, Adam. It's a little early to start celebrating. Not that anybody's celebrating.
Some big minutes here now for Sean Buchanan, the backup point guard. Lofton. Back to Buchanan. Wilkins on the handoff reverse to Jones. Flashing McCants, high-low feed for Wilkins, who is shoved. Mathis hatches.
Well, see, this is where the problems can come in all the switching, as you get sort of these mismatches.
That's 7 fouls now on UNM, so bonus free throws for the France native and 3-year starter Jonathan Wilkins. When we come back, it's a 5-point game in the Rio Grande rivalry. 48, UNM 43, 7:47 left here in half 2 tonight. Game 3 of the season for both. Tonight's game is brought to you by Wells Fargo, a proud supporter of Aggie basketball and the power of teamwork. Wells Fargo, together we'll go far. David Anwar had the scout for New Mexico State tonight. A tough team to scout against, I'm sure, Coach. And you couldn't find two more contrasting styles than the Aggies have found this week, going from St. Mary's, a team that likes to play slow, to New Mexico, a team that likes to play fast. And the Aggies have certainly made the adjustment well.
That's right. They were I thought they were pretty well prepared at St. Mary's. They just ran out of gas, but certainly David Anwar, the assistant coach, has done a terrific job of helping to prepare the Aggies for this one.
Coach Anwar worked under Doc Sadler for a number of years. A well-known head coach who, from what I've heard, is known as one of the friendliest coaches around the country. There's David Anwar.
He's not friendly if you're trying to score against him.
Yeah, that's true.
Tell you that.
That's true.
And then, that's assistant coach David Anwar. Doc Sadler, known as a tremendous defensive coach.
Wilkins makes the first, so he gets the second. David Anwar and the staff of Christian, hired on April 17th. 26th head coach in program history. Inherited a few guys, but had to go find some guys. Had to go find Zach Lofton. Had to go find Sean Buchanan, some others. And the Aggies ahead by 7 now. Longwood banks it too hard. Tipped out to Wilkins, and the outlet goes to Jones. Wing-to-wing pass goes to Lofton. How about Johnny McCants tonight? The Oñate grad playing big minutes off the Aggie bench. Isolation set for Lofton with 6. Lofton for 3. Flanks it off the rim. Jones there, sticks it home.
Well, Wilkins kept that one alive. That was one of the few possessions the Aggies have had all night that I wasn't crazy about. Lofton dribbled it about 20 times there, but it was John Wilkins who bailed the Aggies out. Jamario Jones with a great nose for the ball, stuck it back in.
7 points, 12 rebounds for Jamario Jones, the senior. Longwood's a senior. Doesn't hand it off. Mid-post extended. Outside, the Akron transfer Jackson answers with a 3. And UNM pulls within 6.
But they just keep hovering around. Imagine that. The Lobos won't quit.
Lead pass to Wilkins, who will slow it down. Handles the ball well for a big man.
Well, that's the thing that I would characterize. The Aggies' big men are all different, but they all pass the ball very well.
Lofton on the reverse is bumped.
Well, a much more productive possession there for Zach Lofton. A lot less wasted motion. And boy, is he effective when he goes to the basket.
I don't see many guys who play at 5 different schools. Zach Lofton was at San Jacinto JUCO. Then he went to Illinois State. Then he went to Minnesota in his home state. Then Texas Southern. Last year he was the SWAC Player of the Year. Honorable mention All-American. And he gets one more year.
I like your
Las Cruces.
I like your pronunciation of the JUCO. Here we would say San Jacinto, but there they call it San Jack.
Really?
Yeah, San Jack is sort of the. But we know better here in New Mexico. We know how to pronounce our J's in Espanol. But yeah, he's Zach Lofton has really been just a great addition for the Aggies this summer.
NM State now 12 of 18 on free throws. Pinchuk loses it. Reach and foul though on the Aggies. I'm sure Paul Weir was hoping he could kind of bring Vladimir Pinchuk in gradually, but the big man from Germany having to play a lot of minutes with the injury to Connor McDougal so far this year.
Yes, and he's done well.
Pinchuk has 8. Good looking stroke as well at 6'10", 230. You would have to think that the Lobos will recruit internationally really well with Paul Weir as the head coach and Chris Harriman as the associate.
Well, that's right, and don't forget the other assistant is Jerome Robinson from Toronto. Well, Troy Simons is having a hard time. He's not cutting loose like he did in his first 2 games.
Outstanding verticality there for City Endier. Simons has to be careful. He's being pulled away by his teammate Sam Longwood, and we have some technicals. And I think an Aggie was teed up well.
It's hard to know why the Aggies seem to be under control there. It's hard to know what happened there, but I'm sure we'll find out here in a minute because they've been so helpful.
My guess is it was Zach Lofton. And Chris Jans is telling the officials he didn't say one word. From what we just heard from the PA, and we'll get word from the officials as well, apparently it was Jamario Jones.
Jamario seemed to be smiling. He didn't seem to have said anything, but maybe he was smiling in an unsportsmanlike way or something.
That's one of the hardest things to do, Coach, in this rivalry is control your emotions.
Yeah, it seems like it's Troy Simons walking right into Jamario Jones's face and Jamario smiling. But you're right, I think that's exactly right, is, you know, keeping the emotions under control. You see Troy Simons giving himself a pep talk there.
And we've seen technicals from guys who have never played in this rivalry. Sean Buchanan earlier. Troy Simons here. They're new to the rivalry. And if you allow it to, it will get the best of you.
Well,
You'll get teed up.
Sam Longwood doing what the coaches would want is sort of, you know, keeping his player under control.
Yeah, that's a heady move there by a senior, who's the only returning starter this year for UNM.
But there's still plenty of time left. No lead is no lead. This is not a safe lead for the Aggies.
And you had just said too about Simons struggling. Maybe the frustration for him.
Well, he just got
the best of him. He hasn't scored yet.
Yeah, he just got his shot blocked 2 feet away from the basket, and you know, and he's had a terrific year so far. He's averaging 21 points a game coming in, but hasn't made a basket yet.
And he's a scorer too. I mean, he averaged 26 a game last year at the JUCO level. Well, it's been an interesting twist here in this rivalry ever since April. New Mexico State lost to Baylor in the NCAA tournament. UNM fires head coach Craig Neal. Paul Weir hired not long after. And then Chris Jans hired by the Aggies.
Well, here comes Tommy Nunez again.
That's Sporting on 31 and 10. That's 31 second technical foul. He's done.
Well, Troy Simons is done.
Troy Simons has been ejected for his 2 unsportsmanlike fouls. It's the first tee on Jamario Jones, and now Mike Reed will meet with Paul Weir and Chris Jans, the 2 head coaches at midcourt, to explain what just happened. Have you ever seen a player get ejected in this rivalry?
Well, I can't remember.
Yeah.
You know, in general,
I would assume so, right?
Yeah, in general, the players do seem to get along, and I don't think there's bad blood between the players tonight. It hasn't. There's no fisticuffs and not much trash talking. This is certainly the most helpful crew of referees we've ever had.
Lou Henson, court is shaking right now. Inbound for McNeil. A little too much adrenaline maybe. This is too strong. Buchanan to Jones. Extra pass for Chua.
Well, Jamario Jones catches it at 2 feet away, but somebody's got a 1-footer and he gives it up. And that's where the Aggie big men are so effective, is they're just so willing to share the ball.
It's on UNM, and the Aggies will get it back.
But Adam, contrast that last play with Sam Longwood, where the Aggie players get the ball under the basket. They're perfectly willing to pass it. And Sam, I think, is trying to do a little bit too much here. And it's Vladimir Pinchuk with the over the back.
First on Pinchuk. And the Aggies are now in the double bonus. So Eli Chua will shoot 2 free throws. 5:41 left, and the Aggies are trying to pull away. Now, Coach, with the style that UNM likes to play, it is conducive to a comeback when you're trailing by double figures with a couple minutes left.
I'm not going to start the bus, but no, I think that's a very good point. I think it's a very good point. I don't think there's nothing is set so far. But if the Lobos do bust out with a few threes, it'll be the first time. All night.
McNeil uses the Longwood screen. Here's Furstinger on the arm. Simmons bounces for Furstinger. McNeil to the rim. Charge on McNeil. It was drawn by City Endier.
Well, he was as set as could be. I think that Sean Buchanan worried that they were going to call him for the foul.
And Aggies break the press again. Buchanan finds Chua for the reverse. Here's McNeil. Furstinger was rolling. McNeil and one.
Well, Joe Furstinger and Eli Chua got tangled up, but I don't think there was nothing illegal there. Just Joe Furstinger playing hard and couldn't get untangled from Chua.
That's number 3 on Eli Chua. McNeil looking for the three-point play. Brings in the free throw. 59-50, 5:02 left in the game. NM State has made each of their previous 3 shots. The Aggies are now shooting 39%, nearly thrown away, but Chua tracks it down. The Aggies in the half court offensively. Endier, Buchanan, Jones, Lofton, and Chua on the floor. Mathis, McNeil, Kuiper, Longwood, and Furstinger for the Lobos. Here in their road opener, they're 2-0. The Aggies are 1-1. Chua, bullet pass intended for Jones, is tipped away by Mathis.
No, it's really remarkable how Chris Jans has got these guys. They're so willing to share the ball, especially this early in the year. They just seem to be clicking offensively in ways that I wouldn't have expected.
14 assists on 21 baskets for the Aggies. For UNM, they only have 5 assists. Buchanan blocked by Furstinger, but first he was fouled by Joe Furstinger with only 3 on the shot clock.
Well, Furstinger bailed him out there. I don't think that Buchanan would have been able to get the ball over him.
Furstinger had 2 really early, and this is only his 3rd. 2 shots for Sean Buchanan, who has not scored yet today, only has 2 points for the year. Sophomore from Durant, Mississippi. Only 1 year at the JUCO level. He was at Northeast Mississippi Community College. His brother Leroy plays at Murray State. And he gets 1 of 2. Mathis to the rim. Easy reverse. No help side D.
Well, that was a rare defensive breakdown for the Aggies. And I think Mathis is so intent on, he's such a good three-point shooter. I think it surprised everybody.
Lofton with the left hand. And 1 from Zach Lofton.
Tremendous body control for Zach Lofton. Boy, when he sees an opening, he really takes advantage of it. Boy, and Chris Jans really fired up. I'll tell you, it's been impressive how well they've played together in the first really big home game of the year.
19 now for Zach Lofton. Averaging 21.5 coming in. And he puts the Aggies ahead by 11 as we approach the 4-minute mark. 219th meeting here in the Rio Grande rivalry. And it's been all Aggies since the first 5 minutes or so, really. Step back three, McNeil. That's a really tough shot. Jamario Jones with his 14th rebound. City Endier dribbles out of a double team. Jones right next to him. City bounces to Jamario. Under 4 left for the game. Zach Lofton going to work again. The teardrop a little too strong. Put back for Lofton. Spins around and spins through.
Well, great body control by Zach Lofton.
And Anthony Mathis is fouled on his way up. And Mathis will get 2 free throws after the City Endier foul, and UNM's trying to hang in here. The Aggie lead has grown to 13 points. Their biggest lead, 22 for Lofton. Final 3:16 after this. The Pan American Center for the Rio Grande rivalry, the Battle of I-25. 4,000 foam fingers were given out before the game. Also 1,000 free white t-shirts. Here's the upcoming schedule for the Aggies and for New Mexico. The Aggies will play their second straight Mountain West team next Wednesday when they play Colorado State. UNM will have Tennessee Tech out of the Ohio Valley, and then you see a gauntlet for UNM. TCU, then either Maryland or St. Bonaventure, and Evansville's playing pretty well right now out of the Missouri Valley. And the Aggies are playing UTEP back-to-back this year, so we'll see how that goes. A lot of rivalry games for New Mexico State, including this one. 3 of 4 are rivalry games.
And it's next Wednesday, the night before Thanksgiving. Colorado State, they've been nationally ranked quite a bit in the last few years. It's Larry Eustace is the coach who was at Utah State for a while and Idaho. So Aggie fans should remember him from his good Utah State team.
You know, Coach, I was looking at some Larry Eustace numbers the other day, and when you look at the all-time wins list, I think some people forget that Larry Eustace is right around the same amount of all-time wins as John Chaney at Temple, the late Rick Majerus at St. Louis, Utah, and all those schools.
I didn't realize.
He's one of the best ever.
That's right. Yeah, he's succeeded everywhere he's been, and he's had good teams. It'll be a huge game for the Aggies. So even though the rivalry game is the Lobos, let's not forget Wednesday, the night before Thanksgiving. You can build up an appetite and cheer for the Aggies.
Anthony Mathis will shoot 2. Mathis now 2 of 3 on free throws this year. Just 10 games last season for Mathis after 25 games as a freshman. He's found an increased role with first-year head coach Paul Weir. Not fazed by the student section. UNM makes it a single-figure deficit here as they trail by 9. Checked at 11. It's 65-54. They trail by 11 here at the Pan Am. And Lofton is fouled in the backcourt by Sam Longwood. The Aggies and the Lobos both shooting 2 the rest of the way. Third on Longwood. All 3 here in this half. Free throw good for Zach Lofton, who now has 23 to pace the Aggies and all scores tonight. He just acts like a scorer too, doesn't he, Coach? He's always looking to score. He's always got his eyes set on the hoop.
Yeah, and rarely takes a bad shot, which is unusual for a guy that's so willing to score.
Layup is off the mark for Jackson. The Aggies save it. Endier speeds ahead. Lofton to Chua on the baseline. Pinball's out. Kuiper snares it in, then a reach-in foul is called on the Aggies.
Kind of a sneaky, trying for the sneaky steal there, Zach Lofton.
Foul New Mexico State. Number 23, Zach Lofton is third.
Third on Lofton on the reach-in. 2 free throws for Dane Kuiper. You mentioned earlier, Coach, from Alaska, moved to Arizona after his sophomore year of high school. You don't see many 6'7" guards, and that's how big Kuiper is.
Not that can shoot like Dane Kuiper. He's really a fine shooter. He's had a pretty good all-around game tonight. He hadn't made any threes, but he's had a pretty good all-around game.
Kuiper splits the pair. The Aggie lead is 67-55 here at the Pan Am. Under 3 to go. A.J. Harris so quick. Breaks the press himself. City end here for Harris. Lobos trying to trap if they can. Lofton stutters. Working on Firstinger on the help side. Gets it out to Jones with 6 to shoot. Here's City end here from the corner. Splits the double team. Floats it with 3 on the shot clock. And Longwood couldn't grab it.
Well, City Endier, I think would have passed that last one, but he'd run out of minutes, run out of seconds. Sorry.
Lofton triggers. Gets it in the backcourt for A.J. Harris. Paul Weir riding the officials right now. He just banged the scores table in frustration. The Aggies will chew some clock, ahead by a dozen. Lofton splits 2. Lofton to the rim. Paul Weir's been teed up.
Well, it's a frustrating homecoming for Paul Weir. Not exactly a homecoming, but frustrating return for Paul Weir. And just the Aggies have just dominated, with good decisions, taking care of the ball. As we see Paul Weir gather his Lobos together.
And I just heard him, Coach. He just brought his team together and said, "My fault." He said, "My fault" 3 times to his guys. That could pretty much seal the deal here. Lofton hits both technical free throws. The Aggie lead grows to 16. (71-55) here in this rivalry game. The Aggies have outscored the Lobos 40-27 here in this half. Not a whole lot of time left for UNM. Longwood and Mathis bunched up here on the wing. Longwood on the spin. Can't finish. Chua and Jones trying to grab it, but first Larry Spalding calls a foul, and it's on the Aggies. It's on Eli Chua.
Well, and Sam Longwood, after that great start, has really struggled. He's now 4 for 13.
You can kind of see that technical developing too. Paul Weir's been on the officials all night, and sometimes enough is enough.
It just seems like tonight has not been his night. I think we were anticipating a high-scoring but close game, and Lobos will be lucky to get to 60 tonight. And credit the Aggie defense there.
Endier has it lost. Mathis fouled him here at midcourt. I'll tell you what, Coach Bradford, nobody was talking about Chris Jans before this game. The storyline was Paul Weir, the rivalry. Chris Jans was just kind of flying under the radar, and I'm sure he likes it that way. I'm sure he loves it that way.
Just another surprise of the game is that Chris Jans just did an exceptional job of preparing these guys for the double teams and the press, and they never looked rattled or frazzled.
And I'm sure Aggie fans were wondering, what kind of a coach do we have? I think they found out a lot about Chris Jans, his staff, his guys, the preparation here tonight.
Yeah, and I think Chris Jans had a national reputation as a shrewd tactician and a good recruiter. So it's not like tonight made him, but it was fun. It was fun to see for Aggie fans.
Mario Mocha hired Chris Jans in April. It was a home run hire for fans and coaches around the country. He worked under Greg Marshall at Wichita State. Helped develop Wichita State into a top 25 consistent program. He's been a head coach everywhere, JUCO Division I. He's been around, and he's here at New Mexico State, and he's got the fans riled up here tonight. A minute 25 to go. Kuiper from the wing. Front rim, rebound for A.J. Harris, who's played with foul trouble here in this half. .28 for Zach Lofton tonight. Harris to Endier with a dozen to shoot. We hit the 1 minute mark. Endier lobs for Jones, lost it in a reach into Fowler City. 14 for Endier, Chua with 13 for UNM, 13 for Mathis, 10 for McNeil. What's the biggest surprise you've seen tonight, Coach?
Well, there's
lack of points, maybe?
Well, there's been a few of them. I mean, just Troy Simons was more or less a no-show, as was Chris McNeil. I had big expectations for them. I thought it'd be much more of a run-and-gun kind of game, but it was the Aggies who controlled the tempo. And also Johnny McCants, I think, just sort of, a lot of times freshmen come out and they're nervous, they're ineffective, and McCants gave the Aggies some great minutes tonight.
I'll ask Chris Jans about this when we talk to him post-game, but that might have been the spark the Aggies needed. Johnny McCants, when he started that rally, the Aggies were struggling early.
Well, he was a key player tonight, and again, you don't see freshmen come through like that very often in this rivalry series. But expect the unexpected.
Chris Jans pumped up, calls a timeout. It's a full timeout. The buildup has been there. Right when Chris Jans was hired, there was so much talk about the rivalry. Of course, Paul Weir had gone to UNM, so he was taking over the program that Paul had last year. Right now, Chris Jans is telling the officials he just wanted to get subs in. He didn't want the full timeout. And one of the first questions he was asked at his press conference, Coach Bradford, was, do you know how important this rivalry is to the fans? And he remarked and said, I've been hired for, a day here, and I've already heard from a lot of people saying, you need to beat UNM, you need to beat UTEP. Those are the two most important things here in this town, and, well, he's up 17 with 46 seconds left.
Well, I think that's right. And you could argue a lot of different ways on that. I always thought Marvin Menzies he didn't have a great record against UNM, but he had a great record of getting the Aggies to the NCAA tournament. And so in the end, the NCAA selection committee is not looking at how the Aggies and the Lobos did. But I do think it will boost attendance, and I hope it'll be a sellout against Colorado State. Colorado State on paper should be a better team than UNM.
Right.
So and they've been a top 20 team in and out of the top 20 for the last few years.
The preseason predictions are what they are. UNM picked 9th in the Mountain West. Colorado State picked 5th. It's an NIT team from last year that won 24 games. Gabe Hadley comes in. Joe Garza's back in. Leston Gordon gets a touch right here. And here's Cortrick Miles. So the Aggies emptying their bench. Hadley on the arc. 6 to shoot for the Aggies. McCants backdoor to Garza, has to fade away. Gordon puts it up, can't get the rim, and that's going to be a shot clock violation. They're going to let the Aggies keep it though.
Well, McCants must have heard us bragging about him.
Firstinger shoots a 3, left it short. Johnny McCants the rebound. Listen to this crowd at the Pan Am Center in Las Cruces.
Well, and yeah, a really great crowd and a really exciting time. Just the Aggies taking care of the ball, sharing the ball, playing together. They seem much further along for it only being November. It seems like it's February they're playing so well together.
Aggies improved to 2-1. Lobos fall to 2-1. So the first loss of the year for New Mexico State. What a win here tonight for Chris Jans and the program. NM State now with 2 straight wins against UNM here in this building. Coach Jans is strapping on the headset. Coach, wow. How about the energy in this building tonight?
That was awesome. I really want to thank each and every Aggie fan that come out here and support these young men. Obviously, it was a charged environment. Everybody knows why. But, it was awesome. I just hope that they continue to support this team. If we can get a home crowd environment like that, I know people talk about getting back to 12,000 sold out, but if we can just get that right there, that's a great home court environment for us.
Coach Bradford and I talked a lot tonight about how well prepared your team was. You were prepared for that press. You guys turned it over just a few times in the entire game.
We did a pretty good job. We had a couple lollipop passes that we didn't like the first half, but overall, I thought they did a really good job at handling it for 40 minutes. We had 14 turnovers.
Yeah.
Peter told me before the game, as a staff, we talked about, hey, 15 or less, I think we're in really good shape. And even, 17, 18, the way they pressed. But I really thought our guys did an excellent job of handling the pressure and being in the right spots.
You got off to a little bit of a slow start, but it seemed like it was Johnny McCants who sparked you.
It was. He's a freshman, but he's got great upside. He's athletic, as everyone could see. He's still learning how to play the game at this level, but he's got a big upside. I couldn't be happier for Johnny to kind of have a little bit of a coming out party, if you will, especially against Lobos.
Finally, Coach Zach Lofton scores 28 tonight. How good was he?
I've been telling everybody that will listen to me, he can really score, but it's not just what he does. I mean, he knows how to play the game, and he handled the pressure along with the other guards really well. He's a great pass faker. He knows how to play basketball, and when they switch like that, it puts him in an advantage situation, and we just try to attack when he had the ball.
Coach, thanks for your time. Impressive win tonight.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it, man.
That's head coach Chris Jans. Big-time win for him and his program here tonight. It turns out to be a little bit of a lopsided win. 75-56, the final score. Post-game comes your way next.